You know why I'm happy? I'm happy because I'm not wearing pants. Just kidding. No, I'm not kidding about the pants, but that's not why I'm not happy. I'm happy because one of my absolute favorite punk bands is back. Man, it's been such a long time. I didn't listen to them until high school, to be fair, but it still seemed like a really long time for me from 2007 to now to get a new album from Refused. This is Future, the future of punk. This is Freedom, right here. The future of punk joke, of course, being the fact that their last epic was supposed to be the sounds of the future of punk. Well, the future is here. This is Freedom by Refused, and I'm so happy that it's here. So happy that I got a little too excited and I broke it. I don't know. Who's next for that? See? It's pretty cool, though. Nice little house there. I built this house in punk. Anyway, let's go into some Refused history. Just so you know, if you see a black cat in this video, you're not on drugs. Well, maybe you are. I don't know what your personal life is. But the cat's actually here. He likes to bother me. So I let him do it. Seems more entertaining that way. Refused is a Swedish hardcore punk band originating from Umeå, formed in 1991. It's Dennis Lyxzén on vocals. Guitarist is Kristoffer Steen, drummer David Sandstorm. He actually spelled Sandstorm. And bassist Magnus Flage. So, they were actually formed in 91 with Dennis and David and Per Hansson and Jonas Lindgren. They released a first demo, Refused, the same year, with an already altering lineup from there on out. They joined from there, and the band will put out their first studio album, This Just Might Be the Truth, an album which for the life of me I can't get a copy of it on CD. I have the music, but I have never been able to find a CD for less than $50, and that's too much. Refused's final lineup consisted of Dennis Lyxzén, David Sandstorm, Kristoffer Steen, Jan Brastorm, who released everything from songs in the Fan and Flame of Discontent, I can speak, to the amazing The Shape of Punk to Come. The band never found a permanent bass player. Of course, as you know if you're a Refused fan, they broke up in 1998. Some believe this happened as a result of depletion of creative energy and the band members awaiting different things. There was also conflict between Dennis and the rest of the band. They stated the difference was their first shows after the reissue of A Shape of Punk to Come were just emotionally devastating. Their final tour was an awful experience. They eventually canceled the tour and announced their breakup through a strongly worded press release. But anyway, after that, they had one final fiery letter. Refused are fucking dead. It was a documentary made by the guitarist. So they're dead apparently, but time wounds healed. I don't know. It's surprising with that documentary that existed, but they're back. In 2010, Epitaph Records put up the old Refused website online with the words, "Coming soon." Rumors spread across the internet that could indicate they were spreading on a reunion, and sure enough, in 2010, the band performed on European festivals. They reissued The Shape of Punk to Come in 2010 with a 3-disc set, and in 2011, multiple posters said the upcoming 2012 Coachella was going to include Refused, and it did. The official reunion tour in 2012 went everywhere. Along with that, the drive-in, it went to Way Out West, Coachella, Rosenrock in Belgium, Sonosphere, Download, Rock for the People, everywhere. Jimmy Kimmel Live. After that, they did a little bit of a hiatus, and they came back for a second reunion and writing new music. In 2014, they said they were writing a new album, and you know what? They did. It's here. This is Freedom. So let's go through it. I made a little write-up on freedom because I'm American, and that's what we do in America. We write about freedom, and or not at all, because this is entirely against that concept. I still think it's amazing that this is here. It's been 16 years too long. Before we review this album, I think we should get the right headspace, because this isn't an album to be compared. This is not The Shape of Punk to Come, and we should never expect it to be. That's not even fair. They broke up with the exhaustion of what was expected of them on that. This is a new decade. It's a new band, so let's just get ready for some good punk in a new decade. The first song on the album is Elektra. It's my favorite song on here, hands down. It's a huge highlight. It explodes, literally explodes right out of the gates with all instruments blasting, full-on blasting with intensity. It's off the charts. It's got some huge metal riffs thrown in there. And the one thing to note is that this song it doesn't actually give you a great representation as to what is to come on the album. Even though it's my favorite song, it's not at all what the rest of the album sounds like. The next one, Old Friends New War, is led in by panting and a bass speaking voice that starts the song before an insanely catchy guitar line takes over and leads us through the chorus. It also has some great funky bass lines. Oh man, that funky bass is going to have a full trilogy jam starting right here. Enter the funky bass. It changes between mellow and blasting, usually breathing, to a hip-hop lineup as the backdrop. Yeah, I mean it. There's a hip-hop backdrop on this song. Don't ask me how it comes together, but it does. It works. From there we lead to Dawkins Christ. It starts with a beautiful female vocals led by a guitar line and full throttle blasting punk rock. This one's just screaming from here to the end of the song. The intensity doesn't let up at all. The next one, I'm going to make a stab at it. Francafrique? I don't know. It's not a word I think translates well to English. But, anyway, little girls chant Exterminate the Brutes over and over again over a funky bass line starts the song. It's strange and it's awesome. After the chorus of murder, 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 all put together in one song, it all explodes with kill, kill, kill. And you just gotta hear it. You just gotta hear it. It's one of the best things I've heard on CD all year. It's just a great combo. I don't know. It's one of those things, you know, the classic Offspring chant that, you stupid, dumb shit, goddamn motherfucker. That crazy one everyone knows because it's just a classic. It's like that. It's a huge, I can picture this being so fun at a show. The guitar and the bass and the song, they just rock out and they trade off on funk lines while singing and screaming over it. It's an awesome combo with the funk guitar and bass and the screaming. It's just great. The next one is called Thought is Blood. It starts slower, with some more wavy guitar lines kind of all over, before moving back into a nice little punk breakdown. I don't know. This is about new ideas and free thinking still causing death and war in the rest of different parts of the world. They have an interesting use of bells at this song at the end too. I just thought that was cool. Just randomly, ding ding. You can hear it if you really listen. War on the Palaces. It starts with a great guitar riff and a pounding drum line before bringing in the horns? The horns. Yep, the horns. This is not ska, no. But it is definitely awesome. You know it's not ska because he's still screaming vocals. There's no screaming of ska, at least that I've ever heard, and I know a lot of ska. It's about standing up against the overreaching governments. And this song is another huge breakdown in the middle with some synths. It's just great. I like this song a lot. Destroy the Man. Cue the punk backup singers. I'm not sure why we're cueing them. Again, it's strange, but somehow it works, and it's awesome. No other band could pull that kind of thing off, but they do it here. Back in for the second part of the bass. The funky bass is back again. This time, it's serious. This song is different, but it's still very aggressive because of the intensity from the lead singer. He's just a beast. What can you say? 366 is a blasting, in-your-face, scream-along punk song for equality. Here's some of the lyrics from the song, just to give you a meaning of how intense this is. That's someone's sister. That's someone's son. I want a better life, and I'm not the only one. Seriously, that's powerful shit. It really is. Especially when you listen to it in the context of the song. It's just awesome. This is a huge, huge song with an amazing breakdown led by a bass solo. Back coming the bass. The second coming. It comes through and it eventually leads to a giant peak that, in this breakdown, it is one of the best moments on the CD as he screams at the end of the song, dragged down by the weight of freedom. And that's the title. And it's just a great line, and you can easily see why they named it that. The next song is called Servants of Death. This is the third one, so it's revenge of the funky bass line. I still like it. I really do. They have accomplished something huge here, this time with some strange disco synths in the background. He screams, "The Servants of Death," over and over again, over a funky bass line and disco synths, and it's simply strangely perfect. It's slightly calmer, but funkier, and I still think it's amazing. The bass just owns this song, it really does. The final song on the album is called Useless Europeans. It's the last song. It starts off with some quiet strumming before it slowly builds. It sings you back to sleep. Sing back to sleep. Go back to sleep. The song builds up the entire time until at the end he's screaming louder than ever before with erupting instruments all around him. The song even makes use of a string section during the build up through the song. It's awesome. I mean, just the fact that we have this is good enough. And it doesn't suck. So that's the thing. But it's more than that. It's amazing. This is their first album in 16 years. Can you imagine taking that long of a break and then getting back together after all that time and still sounding so freaking awesome? I mean, very, very few bands have done it. Very few. I mean, they knew they could never top The Shape of Punk to Come, so they didn't even try that on here. Instead, they made something different. Just a completely amazing, thought-provoking album designed to make the listener just take in everything and think about it all. But at the same time, they were able to design an album that they thought would be the future of punk, like they talked about, by bending the genre of punk in a different way. Every single song is something different that doesn't fit the punk genre, snuck in. And at the same time, it fits, and they made it work. So it's like they've taken punk and added something and twisted it. So they wanted to make it different and unique and just not the same thing like they did before, but in a more out there way instead of a more direct and obvious way. It makes the listener really pay attention, and I think the sad part is a lot of the reviewers that have given this bad reviews have missed this point entirely. They've not been too kind, and I think they're missing the point. This is not a standard punk album. That you confuse the albums wanting to bend genre and expand the punk genre sound like it did before, with it trying to water down the punk formula and sell out. But that isn't what this is at all. This is an album that's trying to create something different for you to open your mind and listen to what they're saying. So do it. Open your mind and listen to what they're saying. Don't be a sheep. Or don't, whatever. It's a punk thing. Do it or don't. 5 out of 5 stars, honestly. It's just that good. It really is. If you dig it, you really dig it. Trust me. Elektra I would recommend. Dawkins Christ recommend. Franka Friki I would recommend the track, not my pronunciation of it. And Servants of Death. Thanks for listening. Seriously, check these 2 albums out. If you do nothing else this year, music-wise, these 2 albums. Seriously, I mean it. Just these 2.